What's up? It's Trey Harris here, wide receiver for Los Angeles Chargers. And you're tuning in to Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to Chargers Unleashed. Dan Wolkenstein, Jake Hefner here with you from the LAFB Network, along with special guests. Friend of the show, Kris Rhim from ESPN joins us. Lots to discuss. Chargers fresh off the news of Mike McDaniel becoming the head coach. Presser was just yesterday. Then we get the news of Butch Barry as the new OL coach for Mike McDaniel. Been there for 3 years with him. Lots to discuss. Obviously, we'll go into defensive coordinator, talk about the Mike McDaniel hire, what that means for Justin Herbert and the team. So much and more. But, Kris, before we get to that, Happy New Year, my friend. You've already broke the news about Tyler Tart with the 3-year extension. How are you doing?
Good way to start the new year. You know, just trying to do my best to stay on top of the news, man.
Who's next? Who's resigning? Well, you heard it here first. Go ahead, Kris.
Who knows? You tell me. Maybe Dafe. Who knows?
That honestly, if Dafe signs next, I mean,
I like the tease.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe, and you heard it here first. So much to get into, but I think clearly so much is being said about this Chargers offense, what happened in the playoffs last year, and then this year, and then now with Greg Roman no longer being here, Mike McDaniel being brought in as the Chargers' new offensive coordinator, which felt almost like a pipe dream until it was reality. Then they're playing with our emotions, and he finally gets hired. You were at the press conference yesterday. Tell us about the vibes, what your kind of key takeaways were, and what you see as the tangible differences that Chargers fans can see with their eyes and hear with their ears when they turn on a Chargers game in 2026.
I mean, I think I felt like a lot different from what Greg Roman's first press conference was like. I guess.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I mean, not to say I think Greg Roman's like really smart and has done a lot for football and particularly like run game concepts in the NFL and stuff like that. But in terms of how he talks about it to us, he doesn't talk about it to. It almost kind of felt like it almost kind of felt like sometimes he felt like it was not beneath him or like he was giving away stuff to the opponent if he like explained things to us. Whereas like Mike kind of got into detail about, not super detail, but like detail about his philosophy and the things that he's done and would explain, like, which was really cool to my in my vantage point as, you know, a reporter to get that understanding like on the record and stuff. He also seemed like a guy who wants to be a head coach pretty soon and is excited about the opportunity to doing that. Like you could tell from the press conference and the way he carried himself that he's thinking about that for sure. But I think it was an exciting day for Chargers fans, and it could signal like a turning point for this franchise.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest takeaways as far as the quotes that everybody's hanging on is Mike McDaniel talking about Justin Herbert being Superman, but we don't want to. That's such a taxing his terms to use when you don't necessarily need him to be Superman every game. I want to take that weight off of his shoulders. And I know there was a lot of quotes in general that definitely had Dan Wolkenstein smiling from ear to ear during that press conference for sure. But just in terms of the one that really jumped out to me was when you look at the Chargers offense in this last season and how inconsistent it was depending on which matchups that they were going against, what defenses that they were facing. It just seemed like it kind of fell into that same rhythm where the only time that it really felt like it evolved was when Justin Herbert had to put the cape on or had to use his legs to get out of a situation. And now you hear Mike McDaniel talking about the offense doesn't necessarily need to be consistent. It just, there's many paths of getting there, and there's many ways to attack a defense. So 1 week it could be the running game. One week it could be Justin Herbert. Just in terms of when he was starting to break that down, what wheels were starting to spin in your head to say like, okay, this is where they're really going to be able to elevate?
I think with me, a lot of what Mike was saying, and I kind of wanted to ask him this, but then I thought probably not the right time. First, I'm not going to get off on the right foot. But I wanted to ask him, like, what would you do if you lost, like, look at the Patriots game and tell me what you would have done differently. Mm-hmm. Or like, what would you have done differently last season when they were down to their seventh tackle and they had 29 different, like for all the criticism against Greg Roman, right? Like exactly. The Chargers had no business being in the playoffs. The only reason they were in the playoffs is because Jesse's defense allowed the Chargers to stay close enough for Justin to make like 1 to 2 extraordinary plays a game. And then Justin didn't hold up his end of the bargain in New England. And I think when I thought about that, when Mike was talking, he was saying all these great things. And I wanted to ask him, like, you know, what would you have done? Like in this situation, like, you know what I mean? Like, what would anyone, like Sean McVay, when the Rams had similar O-line injuries, the Rams won 5 games and McVay considered retirement. Like, so I think there's something to be said about the Chargers situation last season and the coaching job that Jim Harbaugh and Greg and Justin did together, right? Like, we should give them some credit for that, for one. But two, I think what excited me, Jake, was him talking about how much this offense will not look like Miami's offense. Like, he went into detail about, well, the reason why the offense looked that way was because I had these short 4-2 receivers and running backs, and we needed to create these jet motions to get them, when they get rerouted by defenses, to get them open and things of that sort, right? Playing to the strengths of his quarterback and his personnel there. And when you look at the stats, they match that, right? They ran more RPOs in Miami than he ever ran in 1 year in San Francisco. So I think that's true, right? And so when what you're saying about, you know, we're going to win this way, we're going to win that way, I think it's exciting because there's proof in that, right? Like, there's not really proof in Greg Roman winning in different ways, right? Or you know, his offense is his offense, right? Mike's offense has looked different in his years as running offenses. So I'm excited to see how he uses Quentin, how he uses Ladd, how he uses Omarion, and these other pieces on offense for sure.
One thing that I noticed, and it was pretty evident, is with, if I'm comparing and contrasting Greg Roman to Mike McDaniel, you know, Greg Roman talked about, you know, imagine Justin with a run game. And he talked about taking some of that off of Justin Herbert's shoulders. And for XYZ reasons, it just couldn't happen, whether it's injury or whether, you know, whatever. I kind of use the analogy of, like, when you put in directions on your phone to go to wherever, and you have 2 options. You can look at your Apple CarPlay and it just shows you, like, the next turn is wherever. Or you pull up your phone and it shows you, like, every single thing between here and your destination. It felt like Mike McDaniel was the latter, where when you go through his progressions, you go through his philosophies, he's like, okay, well, if they're going to do this, we're going to do this, and that's going to cause this. And then, like, he has the answers to the test all the way to the end. And so when I hear him talk about making things easier for Justin Herbert and giving him, you know, manufactured yardage that they can make easy for Justin to where he doesn't have to be that Superman, we have been begging for that stuff. We have been watching Justin just have to, like, shoulder the load every year. So I guess in your mind, like, what is this new offense going to look like?
Right. That's what I asked him too. I said, like, what does that look like in practice? And he said, well, the offense working. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think more creative passing concepts is as simple as I could say that. I think, you know, they brought in Marcus Brady to kind of help that, but we still didn't see the kind of, you know, maybe passing concepts that we see elsewhere. You know, some of the creativity with what we see with other coaches, whether it's Shanahan or whether it's Mike, whether it's McVay, how they're able to, even in Seattle, how they use their star receivers, right? Because Ladd McConkey is a dude. Is cold. Like, Ladd McConkey is good. Like, he's not a bad player. He's not, you know what I mean? Like, the stats this year were what they were, but, like, I think with a different system, with an O-line, again, that would give him time, I think, you know, Ladd would have looked even better than he looked his rookie year. So I say that to say, what will this offense look like? I don't think anybody knows. I don't think Mike knows yet, to be honest. I don't think he completely knows exactly what he's going to do yet. But I will say that it'll look like, I think people will be talking about the players on the offense a lot differently, right? Like, the way people talk about Ladd, for example, I think that conversation might be different in terms of, like, him being, like, one of the league's best receivers, or, wow, like, how is Quentin Johnston doing this stuff, right? And then some of that stuff happened this year too, but it fluctuated with him. So yeah, and I think the O-line will help that, but also some of that scheme, whatever we see from him will help that.
Everything now, obviously, as it relates to the offensive line, the running game, You see the difference, obviously, in general scheme as far as what Greg Roman, how he built it more of just a gap scheme that was utilized for that. And eventually, as the season went on, the Chargers were just unable to run anything up the middle. Anything that they had that was successful had to come from the outside. And then when you look at and see what Miami did last year in terms of their running back stable going over 2,000 yards, 120 yards average per game, 14 rushing touchdowns. What does it mean really just as far as what Mike McDaniel is going to install now, obviously, with Butch Barry coming in to coach the offensive line? How's that going to benefit Omarion Hampton?
I mean, man, I tell you, I think it's going to be scary. I mean, because I think Omarion is one of my – I was saying this, like, my most fun, favorite people to watch. Just when he was playing, he just runs so angry, and he plays so different from his personality. Like in person, he's just kind of like a quiet, kind of shy guy, to be honest. And on the field, he's just like a violent, possessed runner, just looking for contact. I mean, against the Texans, I think Azeez probably should have been flagged. Like there was a play where I think Omarion caught a pass, he sprinted, and Azeez like hit his helmet out of bounds, and Omarion just popped up. Kept going. It's like, okay, this is pretty crazy. But yeah, and he was doing that without, with this line that was
non-existent. I'll say it.
Outside of Bradley and Zion, it was like, who's going to be playing today? Every week, we didn't know was Bakai going to play the whole game? Who's going to play left? Who's going to play right? This is guys figuring it out. So I think you have a coordinator who's his thing is designing run games like you were talking about, Jake, and he'll have a healthy O-line and maybe an upgraded O-line depending on if they bring in competition at center, what happens at both guard spots. So we'll see. I think it's exciting though. That's Omarion. I think Omarion's going to have a year.
If they bring in competition at center, Chris, you're about to get flamed for this. If they run it back with 2025, 2026 center, we are in a heap of trouble.
Yeah.
Look,
we won 11 games last year, Chris.
Oh man, we're talking to Kris Rhim, ESPN reporter. Jake, before we get any further, let's talk about our friends over at Sleeper Pay the Bills. We'll continue our discussion.
Well, it's no longer the NFL regular season. We're at the end of the NFL season with the Super Bowl just around the corner. You still have a chance to up to 1,000 times your cash with daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now. Bet on the remaining players in the Super Bowl with stats like receiving yards, rushing yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Just make sure to use the promo code Chargers LAFB and you can get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Chris, that's what I was talking about. Whenever I have to do a short, if I would have had that moment right there, I would have been like, nope, we got to go right back and re-record it.
Hey, man, I respect that.
But we're live. We are live. Look, I think a lot has been said about Justin Herbert and his playoff success or lack thereof. And, I kind of agree with you where it's like the dude shouldn't have even been in the playoffs considering all of what was going on this past year. And, of course, because he gets them there and then it flames out, he takes the brunt of it. Like, it's just, it's dirty work, but it is what it is. That's what you get paid the big bucks for as a quarterback. I could imagine the relief, though, when he's talking to Mike McDaniel and they're both jazzed about the conversation. And, when Mike's kind of talking to him about, like, getting him some more easy, low-cost, high-reward completions, how taxing it must have been in the past. And, like, I'm just imagining what this offense would be because Justin usually makes the hard stuff really, really easy anyways, but he always had so much hard stuff. And so I have not seen an easy ride for Justin so far in his career. I mean, closest you got was rookie year. And even that, it's a rookie year.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see from a schematic perspective how Mike McDaniel uses the tools that he currently has, because he called out Ladd. He called out the guys that were drafted these past 2 years. I mean, they've got some studs already on this team that are young, that are hungry, that are capable. And so I wonder from your perspective, like, do you think that there is a key piece aside from the offensive line?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a key piece that you think this offense is needing?
I mean, I think I mean, like, I think the biggest thing is like, is Quentin like a true X kind of guy? Is probably you know what I mean? Like, do they need like is he out of position, or is he, you know what I mean? Is that where
If they use him as like a Mike Williams, is that who he is or
is
something?
that who he is, or is he best suited elsewhere? Like, is that Trey Harris and Quentin needs to go on the other side, or I think that's what that would be my thing. Like, if they had like a Mike Williams and Quentin was better in that role this year. I will say that he did well. I think he played well, but I do wonder, like, Quentin is so good when he gets the ball on like a drag, or like he gets the ball in space and he makes people miss and he runs people over, and it makes me wonder if he's better suited in those situations versus the role he's been in the past 2 years, which is these clear out routes, these deep balls. Like his second year, like it seemed like none of them connected, but then like this last year, obviously more of them worked. I will say though, like with Justin, I think this is the thing with Justin, and more so before last year, I didn't feel this way. I mean, I kind of felt this way about the Houston game, that I thought he played below his standard, but this is the first time I started to wonder, like, what is going on, like in the playoffs, because no one's asking in the playoff game, right? You guys watched every Charger game. For 2.5 quarters, those are the cleanest pockets he had since Dallas, probably, and some of the cleanest pockets he had all year. He was just missing guys or not throwing the guy. I don't know if it was because the 4 interceptions the year before, he didn't want to throw the ball downfield. Like, it really, I was just wondering, like, you know, what was going on? Like, you know what I mean? And then the fourth quarter, like, the Packers started teeing off on him, and it was kind of sad. But I do think, you know, Mike McDaniel talked about the hunger in his voice, and at post game, Justin was as defeated as I had ever seen him. You know, he looked really defeated. He was questioning himself, like, when am I ever going to do it? So I do think there is that motivation, but like you said, Dan, there is, like, if it is easy, if there are more layups, I do think there were layups in the Pacers game that he missed, but if there are more layups throughout the year,
yeah,
and he's not maybe thinking however he was thinking in that game, it just makes it easier when the stakes are higher. It's less overthinking for a guy.
It's muscle memory.
Yeah, who has been overthinking all year, right? So I said this to full circle, like, I think the layups will help him later on in the year because he's used to just to drop back, pocket collapses, run around, do something crazy, maybe get sacked 7 times.
Maybe.
Defense keep us in the game, get us a field goal.
Break a hand, why not?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and honestly, and Jake, I will say, like, I'll let you take this one, but, like, I think we, being in the AFC division, right? We've seen the conference in the AFC West. We went from like the Tom Brady, New England Patriots, where it was just like dinking and dunking, and it was torture by death by 1,000 cuts. And like everything just looks so easy. And like, why is nobody else doing this? All you gotta do is just 5-yard outs with Wes Welker and, you know, Edelman, you're done. You know, occasional things. And then you kind of see the same thing with an Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes type thing, where like there's so many of these short behind or at the line of scrimmage, maybe 3 to 5 step drop, like quick, get it out and let them just race around everyone. And then with the Chargers, it's like the opposite. It's like he's having to be Houdini all the time. And so when it finally comes time for playoffs where he has that space, he's like ready to get dropped every second. And so it might be one of those, like, what do I do with my hands kind of thing? Like, I don't know. It felt like a perfect storm, honestly. And so I think what we're now hoping is McDaniel elevates that side of the ball. Then you turn to the defense. Jesse Minter no longer being here. He's not the head coach over with Baltimore, which I think all of us saw as like the biggest possibility. But talk to us about what you see moving forward for the defensive side. Like, is there a guy that you have in mind that you think is going to be? What do you think it's going to look like? And will it take a step back from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it might be I think it might be Klink because of the history and because he maybe worked with Jesse. But like, if I was betting, that's who I would probably bet on. But I'm not like, I'm for sure slam dunk it'll be Klink. But like, that's just kind of like from no reporting, just like my guess. I think it would be it would be Klink. But will the defense take a step back? I think depends on who they sign. Who they re-sign, because If Khalil doesn't come back, yes, it'll take a step back. Or if Khalil comes back and Khalil has regressed, it'll take a step back. If Adafe doesn't come back, it'll for sure regress. But I think they're gonna try to figure out a way. I think Khalil is really the big because Khalil plays the run so well. Like the run defense with Khalil and without Khalil is like a night and day last year. So if he's not back, or for some reason he's not the same player, which it doesn't seem like he will be, then it'll just regress by default because you're missing like this great run defender. And you know who else actually played the run well? He didn't play that much, but Bud actually plays the run well too. But I mean, Bud's probably not gonna be back. But Bud Dupree also played the run pretty well. But yeah, I think so that's what I would say. It depends who they sign. And I think a lot of it starts with that upfront group, and everything kind of falls behind it there. So it's kind of a roundabout way of answering your question. So it depends on Khalil whether they regress. And my thought is Clink for DC.
That's the man that Dan and I have pegged as the successor to Jesse Minter going back to last season when we thought about the possibility of losing Jesse Minter after one season. We know obviously that they had completed their interview with Jim Leonard, who I know is a hot commodity as far as a DC goes right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Monday was an exciting day for Chargers fans because not only did we get the official news and everybody could take a deep breath that Mike McDaniel was officially going to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, but then Kris Rhim, about 2 hours later, drops the news that Tyler Tart, 3-year extension. I wanted to drill in on this for you because obviously he's a fan favorite. He's made a huge impact at the interior of that defensive line. But did you kind of see this as one of those type of moves of maybe this is Joe Ortiz getting out a little bit in front of it, maybe learning from any possible mistakes, because we know everything that was going into the Poona Ford situation of last year and how big of an impact that it was that he made when he was part of this team. And it was huge. It was really unfortunate, to see him go. So do you think that this is kind of maybe the first step of a number of different things that Joe Ortiz is kind of saying, okay, I made that mistake in waiting last year. I'm not going to do that same mistake again.
Yeah, I think it could be. I do wonder. The only question I would have is because Joe likes to get guys signed before they hit the market. So if I don't have reporting here, but it'll be my guess that he probably reached out to Poona, and maybe the mistake was the number, right? Like they might have maybe went low on the number and didn't think that he would get that on the open market. Or Poona was like, I just want to see what I can get, So it could have been twofold, right? And maybe Joe decided, whatever it was, I'm not letting you get there. So he paid the number. I thought it was a little bit more than Thierry would get. Not that it was like a big overpay or anything like that. I thought it might have been like maybe like 33 or something like that, or something of that sort. So I thought, not that they overpaid or anything like that. I think he's deserving of the deal and what he got. So maybe there was like an additional number that Joe went to just so Thierry didn't look around, right? So I think it was that, definitely learning from the mistake and trying to lock up a guy who, I mean, that's what Joe wants to do. He wants to, the Baltimore way of thinking is like, get these guys in here on low-cost deals, and if they ball, keep them here. And Poona did that, and they failed to do so. And they were able to do it with Thierry, who Mike McDaniel cut in Miami, and the Chargers side. I think for sure there's a little bit of that, like learning from his mistake there.
You put at the end of that piece that you felt that the next target was going to be Oweh. Do you still feel like that's the next domino to fall in the free agent market?
I think so, man. I mean, I think they're going to try, but Oweh's probably not going to let them not let them see the market, because somebody.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, he's 27, and he's just like, he plays a premium position, so
he balled out.
Yeah, somebody's going to probably throw some crazy money at him. Team a lot of cap space, so it would be. I'm sure they're working the phones, be like, hey, we could do this right now, and Adafe's agent probably like,
no.
Let's see what we got, because somebody might throw a Brinks truck at you, and you might want to think about it. So yeah, that's what I imagine would be front of mind for them. And I mean, Adafe said he wanted to be here, but a lot guys say that a lot until there's a crazy number thrown at them. So yeah, I think that'll be the next priority, and then Thule extension. Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be my. We have a few more for you, Chris. That's gonna be my question for you. Was like if we had a 2026 offseason blueprint for Kris Rhim on quote unquote fixing the Los Angeles Chargers, if you will, or optimizing. Let's go opportunistic here. Clearly, Adafe Owe and Tiger Tart was among those. The extension for Thule. The next three, like, what are the three most important things this Chargers team, staff, whether it's Joe Ortiz or whether it's Mike McDaniel or whether it's DC or free, whatever. Like, what are the three things that they have to improve upon between now and week 1 next year?
So you're saying beyond like coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say DC because obviously they needed a coordinator, but like aside from coaches.
Yeah, I think aside from coaches, the big three things that they need to figure out is probably number one. That's a good question. Number one. Wait, so I can't include Adafe?
So you can include Adafe if you want.
Okay, I'll probably say, dang, three things.
Because like there's a lot in there, right? You got like the offensive line, you've got weapons, you've got.
I'm trying to group them in the category, so I don't have to pick. I'll probably say edge room. Figure out the edge room. Number one. Honestly, edge room number one. Figure out the edge room. Dafe, Khalil, Thule extension. You might get a holdout situation with Thule. I don't know. He just seemed like that kind of guy. You never know. Then. Because it'd be Rashawn. It would be like Rashawn last year. It turned out Rashawn actually had like a foot thing, but like, you just came back as soon as your deal got done. You're back practicing.
Imagine
that. And then figure out interior O-line. Zion's a free agent. Mekhi Becton was up and down this season. Seems frustrated with the org. And then Bradley Bozeman struggled. So figuring out those three positions. I think they'd like to have Zion back. There's also a guy, Tyler Linderbaum, who might be a free agent. Baltimore's probably not going to let him, but that's a guy who, like the Baltimore way is like, we're not going to pay free agency crazy money or something unless we know that guy. Like we scouted him, you know what I mean? And Joe Ortiz knows that guy. He knows.
Well, that's just proven. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to pay because I know him, right? I've done extensive work. So those two line, so edge room, interior O-line, and then the third biggest thing I would say is I think figuring out what you're doing at receiver. Are you going to let Trey like play this year? Like, are you going to let Trey?
Let him loose.
Yeah, are you going to let him loose? Are you going to bring Keenan back? Because there's kind of they say, there's never a bad problem to have good players, but like, okay, like
you don't want to waste them. Yeah.
Yeah. You need time on task, like to get better. Like at the end of the day, they need to play to.
And Trey Harris got better as he was on task. Like it was clear.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So those would be big things. Edge number one, I think, interior O-line number two, and then wide receiver number three. And in my mind, that's really just like weighing the balance of like Keenan versus Trey. And what that looks like moving forward.
It's great, even like KLS too. Like he seems like an archetype that would be built for a Mike McDaniel type offense, to where like he could take on that speedster in space role.
And KLS is good, man. Like he was a star camp. I mean, he's just like, and then he scored in KC, and he's good. So like, there's so many guys to find time for. Like that'll be a big thing. But like saying goodbye to Keenan would be tough. Again.
Especially now we can have like the most yardage, I think, this year.
Yep.
That'd be tough.
One last one from me, Chris, because you kind of touched on it a little bit in talking about the spending, because I know Joe Ortiz had kind of gone into that end of the year press conference and said, we want to be aggressive, but we don't want to do reckless spending. And to his credit, he's found a lot of lower tier free agents that have been able to come in and really produce. And a lot of that, again, was on the defense that Jesse Mentor, Mike Elston, Klink could get out of these guys. And just being, I don't want to necessarily say bargain basement shopping, because it wasn't, because you were able to get the best out of these guys in the big picture of things. But do you think now that maybe the fact that obviously a lot of things will be answered when this full staff is complete, but do you think he's still going to operate with that same mentality? Because I know everybody over the last 2 years has, right when that flag drops for free agency to open and the Chargers go that first full day of not doing anything, everybody just loses their minds.
Yeah.
So now, once again, the Chargers have, what, third in cap space for this upcoming season. Do you think it's going to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe what Joe Ortiz has done in the past, but not just going completely off the rails? Because we've seen that definitely have a negative impact for the Chargers with Tom Telesco.
I think I would say this. If Joe Ortiz is the general manager of the Chargers for like the next decade, think of it like Tom Telesco at the trade deadline. Like, just he's not making a move.
Oh boy!
Like he's not, like if you look at the Ravens' history, like look at the Ravens in free agency. They don't. I mean, there's been splashes here and there. I'm not going to say they've never done it, but they're not a team
like quantity, high volume.
Yeah,
guys versus the hot top dollar. Yeah,
they're signing guys. They're trying to build through the draft. They're trying to get, everything is about like the value, like Dante Jackson. They're like, oh my God, like look at what we got this guy at this number, right? And like Thierry, right? Like it's about value because of the risk. You haven't done like the kind of evaluation on a person. You haven't seen him in your system, and there's so many misses in free agency that's so volatile that they just try to stay away from it. So I would say, again, that's not to say you're never going to see it, but I would just not expect like him, like these guys to be spending, as we've seen the past 2 off seasons. But if Tyler Linderbaum is sitting there, yes, I think they would try to do that. Are the Ravens going to let him get there? I don't think so. But
so, and I think it's important too. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Exactly.
Right? Like when we say it's like Telesco at the trade deadline, like, we mean it might not happen, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, like what we saw with Tom Telesco. Because we saw Tom Telesco go buku, and that turned into some god-awful contracts that they are still paying for, literally.
Yep.
And so, kind of similar to what you see during the free agency, where you see all of these guys come in at these low-level, either vet minimum or close to, right, the underbelly of the NFL, and then get the most out of them. That's what Jesse Minter and folk did on the defensive side. And that's what Mike McDaniel is now known for on the offensive side. So if they can now get both of those sides to marry together, like, you're cooking with gas. You don't want to spend $35 million on 5 different players, because then after that, you got nobody left. You can't build a depth. So
and the thing is, in Joe's mind, not that it's bad, free agency is bad or anything like that, but I think he would say, like, well, look at Tarheeb still, look at Cam Hart, look at a bunch of the players that we've drafted. Look at Kamani, who we cut and brought back. Look at Ladd.
We won 11 games.
We won 11 games, right? So I think that is the point. Like, we want this to work, and just it's when you don't know a guy, so much goes into these like evaluation processes, and it's different when a guy hits the market that you evaluated prior. Then you're like, okay, I know this dude. Like, we can make something work. That's why they were willing to pounce on that trade for Adafe in the way that they were, right? So yeah, I think, like Dan said, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Just look at the people that he's learned from and the sustained success of that organization. The success is sustained because, you see some teams that will go to a Super Bowl or something, and then like you might not hear from them for a few years.
They gone.
Right? And so the thing that they want to do is be competitive every year, right? And so if you swing and miss, you might swing and hit once, but it's better if you know what you're swinging at than you're just blindly swinging every offseason. So I think their strategy is good, but I will say, like, as a if you're a fan, like, yeah, it's frustrating. Like, it's annoying. Like, because I play Madden. Like, everybody plays Madden. Like, just go sign the best person. Like, we saw him play. Like, just
turn the injury nods off. Yeah,
I can do this in 3 seconds.
Yeah, literally, it's just easy. We got the money, make it happen. Like,
I traded my whole team. That's no big deal.
Right. Yeah, and that doesn't also mean that they don't. That conservativeness does make them miss on guys who probably would work here. But again, it saves them from the misses. Like, there's a J.C. Jackson miss that kind of crippled the organization, right? Like things like that. So, yeah, I would say that. Long way of saying they'll be conservative unless they know the guy, Tyler Linderbaum. We'll see.
I think they go conservative with like the contracts they give out, but I think that I think their motto, and I'm probably paraphrasing this from Joe Ortiz directly, but like he wants as many at-bats as he can,
right? Whether it's with draft picks or with free agents. And so some of them are not going to pan out. But if you're only limiting yourself to like 4 versus 14, you have a lot more chances to kind of make up for that. One more position group that I wanted to ask you about, and no one's really talking about it that much, but I am just kind of curious. The linebacker position is an interesting one going into this new season because you have a Junior Colson who they are super high on, and it just had terrible luck and injury issues for the first 2 seasons. Came in because he was tailor-made for that defense with Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter now leaves, so like he doesn't get to play with his former coach. Then you have Denzel Perryman, who he played pretty darn good last year, given his role and what he was asked to do. Deion Henley's ascending. I feel like there's a lot of question marks, though, with did the Troy Dye there still, who played really well. But what does that look like this following year? Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because, I mean, you look at the room coming back, it's those 3 with Troy and Deion and Junior. I would think that they would want to see what they got from Junior. I think they want to give him a legit shot. That doesn't mean they're not going to bring in competition, right? Not try to get. I think they like Denzel. I think they love what Denzel brings. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bring him back for sure. Another person not talked about who, I mean, he doesn't really play defense, but Delshon Phillips.
Yeah, we had on the show earlier. Yeah,
special teams ace. He might get like a multi-year deal with the way he played from somebody this year.
So good.
So he's another guy who might not be back. But yeah, it's hard to say. I think it's another position where they're trying to juggle. We have this young guy that we think is going to be really good despite his injuries and, it's his first year, up and down play, giving him a shot. So I think if I was guessing, they bring Denzel back and they give Junior, obviously they give everybody legit shots, but they give Junior a legit shot to try and get that job, or to, compete for more playing time. But I think they like Denzel as a vet. They like what he brings. Crazy year for Denzel, by the way, but yeah, I think that would be my guess for sure in terms of how the room looks. If it's not Denzel, then it'll be another vet. I think I saw something like DeMario Davis is a free agent or something, or
I saw something about that, and then I saw some other ridiculousness on Twitter about, I don't know. There were some comments. I'm like, what are we even talking about here these days? Twitter is insane, by the way.
Yes,
it is an absolute cesspool. Like, I've just get away from it.
Sick.
Touch grass, as they say. Jake, take us home, my friend.
Me. Me. I asked my last question. I even prefaced that to Kris. Now you're asking me to backtrack on everything that I was saying. Thanks for keeping me prepared.
You're welcome.
So way to throw me under the bus. I have nothing. So if you want to wrap it up,
I will wrap us up. For Kris Rhim, you can follow him on ESPN. He does all of the work for ESPN for the Los Angeles Chargers team. You can find Jake at Jake T. Hefner, myself at Dan W Sports. Kris, what are you working on next? What should the folks be prepared for from you?
Got a bunch of different stuff coming. I don't have nothing really big to well, there may be something big, but I'm not sure yet. So I gotta keep it. You know what I mean? I don't want to jinx it. So just keep an eye out on the account and keep watching, keep reading, keep replying on Twitter and doing whatever you do.
Can we get like a timeline of
no,
it could possibly
drop what he's doing? This is a smart man.
I have no clue, man.
Just maybe between January 28th and February 9th.
Just stay vigilant. I'll give you guys the news per source.
Perfect. Kris, you're the best, man. Have so much fun the rest of the week. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.